Okay, whatever. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Joy Jacket. I was like, I don't know why I did that. Welcome back. Happy Black History Month. Shout out to everybody Black. I love us. Anybody in the diaspora. Happy Black History Month. And also, thank you. That's what I wanted to lead with, actually. But thank you to everybody who commented on my last video on creativity, the link between creativity, desire, and sexuality. That was so unexpected to get so much, I'm gonna call it love. Fuck it. Getting so much love and such a, just strong reaction from people being vulnerable in the comments. I really appreciated that. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who took the time. Okay, today we're going to talk about my favorite so far, book edition. I don't know if I'm going to make this a series or not, but I just wanted to talk about the books that I've read so far. If you have seen one of my other videos, the bingo card video, I talk about how I'm trying to read 30 books this year. And honestly, I'm on track. Like, shout out to me. I'm actually almost about to be ahead. So shout out to me. I've read 4 books so far and I'm on my 5th one. And yeah, I wanted to talk about the books that I've read, and I also wanted to really quickly talk about the books that I still want to read. So these are the books that I have in front of me right now. And some of these I have not read, and then these I've read. And I've read another one, but I read it on my phone, so I don't have the physical copy. But yeah, let's get right into it. I don't want to waste anyone's time. The first book that I'm going to talk about is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I was not familiar with Oscar Wilde. I just kind of stumbled into my local bookshop and was like, okay, let's browse the classic novels section, because I haven't read that many classics. Like, I really haven't. And I've always heard people say like, oh, picture Dorian Gray as like a pop culture reference. And so I thought, okay, let's see what this is about. Spoiler, I loved this book. I really, really did. If I had to give it a rating, I guess you have to do the rating at the end. No, fuck it. I'm gonna do the rating now. If I had to rate this book out of 5, I would give it like a 4.75. Maybe even if I'm feeling crazy, I might give it a 5-star. So yeah, let's get into why I like this book. I, for one, really appreciated the relevancy of this book, which I guess couldn't have been known in hindsight, but basically beauty is a bad investment, okay? The corruption of the soul, the obsession with beauty and youth, morality as a concept, if we need it or not. This book definitely explores that through their main character, Dorian Gray. And dare I say, they did it very well. I don't think I want to get into like exactly what happened in the book. If you've read it, you've read it. If you haven't read it, that's cool. But yeah, I just wanted to emphasize I really appreciated the themes of this book. What I also really liked about this book was the distinction between characters. You know, when you're reading a book and you can tell that maybe the author didn't really investigate their own characters and make sure that there's a clear distinction between the characters and how they speak. That is not the case for this book at all. This book, there's a character called, I think, Lord Henry, who's kind of the like persuasive, devilish figure, like the devil on his shoulder, Faust-like entity, that I really liked. I didn't agree with a lot of what he had to say because he was very cynical in nature. He had a clear disregard for morality as a concept and just like goodness as a concept. He was constantly questioning what it means to be a good person, if there's what's the point of being a good person. So obviously, if I knew this person in real life, we wouldn't be friends. But reading this, I thought it was so interesting and enthralling. Like, it really made sense that the character of Lord Henry had such a negative influence on the character of Dorian Gray. And there were times where I'm like reading, like Lord Henry was a confirmed yapper. Like, there were times I was reading and I was like, I don't agree, but the way that you're saying it is really, you got to have your wits about you to not be influenced by this rhetoric. So that was really, really, to me, really, it was like enriching. It was like a thought exercise, very philosophical, sometimes abstract thoughts on humanity, and I just really enjoyed reading that. And I really enjoyed reading about Dorian Gray's perspective changes as well, and him morphing into like a terrible person, and then the pendulum kind of swinging back, and him becoming or seeking to be a good person again. Very interesting. I really enjoyed this. Girl, what is happening? I don't know if you can pick up on that. It sounds like my downstairs neighbor is like killing someone. Anyway. Yeah, I'm also not gonna spoil it, but I really, really like the ending. The ending gagged me. It made sense. That's what we were getting to. I'm not gonna spoil it, but the big crescendo, it was foreseeable, but it still gagged me in the way it was written. So yeah, I really liked The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Okay, next book. I'm gonna make this a quick thing, yeah, because one of these books I know I'm gonna talk about for way too long. So quickly, I also read Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is also a classic, I guess. It's also, by the way, I got this from my local library. So thank you for that, because I don't have the funds, like this reading challenge, because I hadn't stepped foot into a library to not study, like to actually just lend a book in a long time. And so I was like, I can't keep buying these books. I actually don't have the funds for that. And then I remembered local library, so I got a bunch of different books from my local library. Shout out to them. So Animal Farm by George Orwell is it's an animal farm. It's a farm with a bunch of animals, and it's about basically the revolution of that farm, enslaved animals by humans who radicalize themselves and organize themselves to overthrow their owners and be anti-capitalist, I guess, in a sense, have their own farm, work on the farm and own its capital, and just be free. But eventually what happens is some of the animals, the pigs, become hungry for power and become corrupt and start oppressing the other animals. This is a very fast-paced, very on-the-nose, like quick to the point type of read, which I really enjoyed. It's obviously also very short read as well. But this book, literally like 5 pages or 6 pages in, the revolution already happened. I said, okay, we're this is fast. I really appreciated that, because the Penguin editions always have, I mean, I guess other books have it as well, but Penguin editions always have the what do you call that? Where they tell you about the author and what, you know, what his life was like and whatever. And they put it into the historical context of the world, which this book was released in 1945. Hello. It's just, it was just a very powerful read in the sense that you know what's coming, you know what it is, and it still hurts just the same. There's one part in particular, there's one scene where I gasped audibly. I think I was reading this in the gym, which is kind of, who am I? But I gasped audibly because I could not deal with the imagery. Like, the visual of a certain excerpt here was insane. It's towards the end, and it was disgusting to me. So yeah, very effective, very easy to read. And I think this is a classic for a reason, yeah. If I had to rate this one, I would give it a 4-star. Because it was straight to the point, you know what it is, effective, upsetting, loved it. Okay, next book is Open Water, which I purchased with my own money, and I'm glad I did, This is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson, who is I believe, Ghanaian British author. I believe he's Ghanaian. Oh my god, he might be Nigerian. No, I think he's Ghanaian. And this book is about, allegedly, this book is about it's a tender and touching love story, beautifully told. If you can't tell, I have a tiny bit of an issue with this book, and I hate saying this during Black History Month because I wanted to love this. When people say I wanted to love this, no, you guys didn't want to love this the way I wanted to love this. I still enjoyed it, but it was definitely to some extent disappointing to me. Everywhere on this book, if you even starting with the cover art of this book, you would think that this book equally talks about these two individuals. That's not the case. My main critique of this book is that it is characterized as a love story, when I feel like first and foremost, this is not a love story. This is an exploration of Black masculinity of the male lead, and secondary or third, maybe this is a love story, but first and foremost, this is about a man who's dealing with racial discrimination and struggles to... Oh, okay, so hate that for me, but it stopped recording. Let me find my way back in. But this book is about a man who struggles with racial discrimination and the expression of what that is doing to him. This was frustrating to me because I, again, expected it to be kind of equally yoked. Like, I expected it to be about both of these characters equally, and I don't know, maybe the cover was misleading, but I just hate that I didn't know more about her. I wanted to know so much more. She was obviously the love interest, and she was someone who, because they were friends first, she was someone who supported him through most of his struggles. But that's it. She was basically just someone he could lean on and joke with and have sex with. But who the fuck is she? Like, that bothered me so much. Because to me, it was almost like some of the scenes in this book, to me, read as like my first introduction to a Black manic pixie dream girl. I'm like, who is this person? Like, she's I don't even know. So that was frustrating to me because I just wanted more. Also, something that I didn't love with this book is but that's just a preference thing. The author's writing style to me felt very dramatized, which is not a bad thing objectively, but dramatized and like very like poetic with, to me, not enough substance to justify the drama. Does that make sense? Like, if your writing style is gonna be very like this, then I need it to be grounded in something that I feel like is real and true, and I just couldn't get that here. I appreciate this book for what it is, which to me is a perspective that I don't know because I'm a Black woman, not a Black man. The amount of police brutality that he faces in this book is very upsetting. So objectively, I do feel for this character, and it's very easy to empathize with this character. However, I still felt like in terms of emotional exploration, this book was lacking like depth to me. Like, I really needed it to go. And I'm not saying I need Black trauma. This book covers violence on Black people just fine. But I wanted more in terms of emotional stuff. I just wanted more. But I did appreciate, again, I did like the book. And especially what I liked was the male leads interactions with older Black women. I really appreciated in this book. I thought those felt very nuanced and felt very they were vital to the story to me. But yeah, overall, I think I wouldn't have led with, I think leading with this is a love story is misleading. Like, this is, to me, is not that. This is a book about a man who fell in love and also is a black man, but I don't think at the forefront of it, I don't think it's a love story. Sorry. Again, still enjoyed it. Happy Black History Month. I'm sorry, but I wanted more. This will be turned into a TV show. This was announced a couple weeks ago, I think. So I will watch that show, obviously. Again, I'm happy I read it, but I just wasn't really quite what I expected. Yeah. Okay, then lastly, I want to talk about The Vampire Lestat. Woo! That is probably my favorite book out of all these books that I've read. I don't even know where to begin. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet because I don't want this video to be too long. But I don't have the physical copy with me. But I finished, after over a year, I finally finished The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. I was like, what's her name? Which is the follow-up to the classic Interview with the Vampire. This book stands on its own. Like, yeah, it's a follow-up to a very successful novel. However, I really think The Vampire Lestat is the better book. If you are into, like, drama, goth horror, romance, yearning, questioning your own morality, questioning your own goodness, what it means to have faith, dealing with grief, loss, family trauma, but also sexuality, and also being like, it's about individuality, it's about being true to yourself. This book has so much that it's dealing with that it's the best one I've read so far. If you've read The Interview with the Vampire, this second book, which focuses on Lestat compared to the first one, which focuses on Louis, this book felt so much more like vivacious, like it felt more like charged and alive, which makes sense because it's about Lestat, who I believe Anne Rice, I think that's her like favorite character. I think I've read that somewhere. And you can tell there's so much care put into the telling of his story, and it just feels like a very rich book. What I also really like about Anne Rice is her writing style, which I'm not trying to shade the book that I just talked about, but if I were to draw a comparison, Anne Rice has a very also like poetic, kind of like honestly verbose type of writing style. Like it's kind of long-winded, the sentences can run on, but it feels true to something. Like I feel like her writing, it makes sense because they're vampires and they're old. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course they would talk like this. The book is dramatic because shit, I mean, imagine being a vampire is fucking dramatic. Like that must be traumatic. There's also like a saying or like there's like a phrase like no vampire is born out of love. I need you to sit with that. So yeah, I really love Anne Rice. I actually don't love Anne Rice. I heard she's racist actually, but she's passed on. I love her writing style, and I'm very eager to explore her other books. But yeah, Vampire Lestat is by far my favorite so far out of the two that I've read. But yeah, do I have anything else to say about the Vampire Lestat? I also just really appreciated the expansion of the lore. The lore is crazy in this book. Like towards the end, when we really get into where do vampires come from? Who made the vampires? Why are there great laws of the vampires? Like once we really get into the chew, oh my god. And just like the introduction of so many important characters like Marius, Akasha, Enkill, like guys, Gabrielle, like expansion of Armand in this book, like OMG, this book is fantastic. Again, I really recommend it to anybody who is looking to kind of read, you know, about all these human things, human experiences, but heightened because they're vampires, and it's just a very fun fantasy book. So, but I don't even want to boil it down to like fantasy book. It's so much more than that, okay? It's so much more than that. But yeah, those are the books that I've read this month. That's a lie, that I've read this year so far. And now let's get into the books that I still want to read, which I have two of them right here. I already started one of them, so I guess that I want to continue. This one is the one I haven't read yet. It's Han Kang's Greek Lessons. I'm gonna be honest, I just saw this and thought I've seen this cover before. That's the only reason I got this. Again, local library, thank you so much. So I'm on a time crunch to read this. I have no thoughts. I just know Han Kang also wrote The Vegetarian, and I've heard a lot about that book. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she has to say. I don't know what this is about. I'm assuming about Greece somehow. I don't know. But yeah, I have no clue what this is about. I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna see. So yeah, and then the other one I've started, I'm like a fourth into, and I'm loving it so far. I don't think there's any chapters with this book, which I really appreciate. It's like you just kind of, you tap in and out, or you just read it all the way through. This is Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica Au. I really love this cover as well. It's very simplistic, beautiful. I think this is about a mother and a daughter who I think get to know each other more and discover more about each other and themselves. And it's just one of those kind of like homey, but also drama-y, but also beautiful, everyday life-y type of books so far. So I'm excited for that. It's so good so far, and I'm only like 30 pages in. So yeah, that's what I have got going on right now. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you're reading anything. And yeah, thanks for watching. I've already said that. Happy Black History Month. Go read The Vampire Lestat. Sorry for being so harsh on Open Water, but also that's how I feel. Yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.